So we want to welcome you to this exciting seminar, to this little webinar, and say that there is something about sex that is meant to be delicious. There is something about sex that is meant to be enjoyable. And we doubt that whether you come from one religious background or any other, that if you choose to have sex, that it is naturally enjoyable, that it is something that feels good. Whether you choose to condemn that enjoyment, the enjoyment is real. Now, our question to any person that might listen is, what do you think is so bad about enjoying yourself? Is it the wrong kind of enjoyment? For we would say that it's similar to when people are enjoying an ice cream, or when they're enjoying the good weather, or enjoying prayer or meditation, or any kind of practice that feels good, riding your bike, helping your old neighbor. That too is a kind of satisfaction, is kind of enjoyable, is kind of feels good to your senses. This feels so much more powerful that it frightens many people. You see, you don't get afraid of you having to eat because you have sort of accepted it as a physical necessity. And so it is accepted that you all eat. While the restriction put on sex is is easier to come by, because you don't have to have sex in order to survive, and yet it's an instinct. And so the assumption is, then it must be bad. Then it must be the devil. What if it's God's signal? What if God wants you to have sex? We are saying this sort of bombastically to sort of get your attention. What if God's want is, our desire is for you to have sex? What if it's your natural being that is to have sex? What if you are made, what you are is made to have sex at some point in your life, and many times because your body wants to enjoy it? If we say that things happen for a reason, then you cannot be so much against your own word that you say, but not sex. You see, it happens for a reason, but there's more reasons. You see, if there's enjoyment involved with it, then that must have a reason for it too. If there's desire to do something, then that must be a reason for that too, if everything has a reason, right? And so these natural good feeling reasons must be the only way that you can really distinguish between what is the good reason and the not good reason. That is the only way we can really explain it that makes sense. So if it's okay for you to have sex, then why don't you do it more? Well, you see, you don't want to be inappropriate. You don't want to make anyone else feel uncomfortable by you enjoying your own body, your own sexuality with another person. So the basis is that this is an enjoyable time. And remember that if you want to go out and have more sex, or just feel better about when having sex, that this is naturally enjoyable. That there's, imagine that you ate an ice cream and you just wanted that ice cream to taste good. That you wouldn't, if it was sort of nice, you said, oh, nice ice cream. You didn't say, oh, yeah, it was nice, but it wasn't like super ecstatic, cosmic, awesome ice. And so I feel kind of bad about that. I wasn't able to enjoy the ice more. I should have enjoyed it more. I should have performed better with my tongue on this ice cream. We think you know where we're going with this. For there's another aspect of performance that seem to, we wouldn't say that it's what you should expect or what you can achieve, but we would not make a good experience bad just because it wasn't superb or sublime, which it of course can be. But why don't you just make the sex good? Instead of saying, well, it was sort of mediocre because you know it can be better. Why don't you just say, well, it was great? and I'm expecting it to get even better. You see, you don't have to put it up against the standard of what is the right level of enjoyingness. There's so many levels that you can enjoy something on, that there will never be an end to the enjoyment, to the ecstasy that you can feel physically within your body. It is constantly expanding what it is capable of enjoying, the level of enjoyment that you can actually feel within this body. And it will you will be taken there if you do not judge yourself too harshly. You see, sex is a built-in focuser of energy and of pleasure. And so as you have pleasure without guilt, without feeling inferior, then the natural tendency of sex will take you toward greater enjoyment. So if you have a girlfriend or boyfriend or some sexual partner that you wish to engage with, and you can do this and not judge yourself too harshly, just hold a little back on the criticism and enjoy it in whatever way or level you are able to enjoy it on. And don't force yourself. Don't do more or less than you want to do. Just do it in whatever way is comfortable for you and your partner. And enjoy that if you do this more, then you can have more sex and more enjoyable experience. Now, some people might at this point say, well, how do I know that I'll keep on having the sex if I don't perform, to a certain standard? How do I know that she or he will be with me again? Now, if they choose not to, it must not have been that good for them. Or they might be in judgment of themselves, because most likely it was rather nice for them as well. It's made to be pleasurable. It is made to be pleasurable. It is not made to be hard. It's not made to be complicated. It's not only special people who can have extraordinarily wonderful sex. Everyone can, just by being themselves, doing what their instincts tell them, and with some awareness of their partner, but just normal awareness of what to do, have a reasonable enjoyment of it. What many people do is they close up the possibilities of how great it could be. Now, if they felt that it could be better, then they would feel guilty. And as long as they hold the saying it couldn't be better than this, then it wouldn't be better than this. So either they would feel guilty, or they would sort of say, oh, I can't have it any more than this. They sort of close off their openness for even greater sex. What if it's infinitely big and it can be infinitely good? So there are no standards towards which you can measure yourself, your level of enjoyment. And if it's that, then there can be no level that is correct or the final one, but they cannot be wrong either. You can just move gradually toward higher and higher enjoyment. And that is really what you wanted anyway. You didn't want to have the perfect experience. You want to have increasingly enjoyable experiences in this earth experience. And that is, sex is such a great symbol of that. And other people will usually want to have sex with you again if you are respectful to them and you are aware of how they feel throughout it, and you don't lie or deceive them. That's basically, then most often at some point they might want to have sex with you again. It will probably be different, but if you allow it, if you're open to these levels, you say, all right, this was good. Next time I expect it to be a little bit different, a little bit more nice. Then you are opening yourself up to the possibility. And if you do this as regularly as you can, then it will be better. Now, don't judge it, if it's with exactly the same person, if it's with yourself, or how you do it. Just know that it's an open scale of enjoyment and enjoyment and enjoyment and more enjoyment and more enjoyment. There's not this backside to it, and there's not this downside to it. And you see, we think that's what really freaks most religious or judgmental people out is that there seem to be no downside to this. So how can we really measure it? And that's why you put up these standards about performance and how you should do, or if you shouldn't do it. And so it's sort of a test of your willpower to hold yourself away from having sex, which you have a natural desire to do, and yet you say it's not natural, but eating is, though it's sort of the same kind of signal, because enjoying things is wrong. God didn't make you so you could suffer. You were never made to suffer. You were made to enjoy life. It's not a vicious God that wants evilness, and it's not that it's in your best interest not to enjoy things. It is not that you will learn some super secret wisdom by not really acknowledging your own desires and enjoying yourself. You'll not learn something special by it, except how to not enjoy life. And then you'll be extra sensitive to when you start enjoying life. So the upside to not enjoying life is that then you're ready to start enjoying life later. And so it's just, when will you start to let yourself enjoy life in an increasingly great way? Now, there's nothing about sex that really has to be in any particular way, with any particular sex, or in any particular situation, circumstance. However, there are certain social standards about these things, and you are so addicted to them, addicted to thinking that way, or accustomed to it, that it will be hard for you if you do not follow some measure of social ruling and let yourself go a little bit in the direction of what you think might be comfortable. But if you continue to do that, then you will automatically express more and more of yourself. And as you go along, you might want to reevaluate some of your old held beliefs about it, because you might want to explore this. And the more you do this for the enjoyment, not for the sexual coming, but you do it for the enjoyment of the experience, for the clarity, for the joy, for the closeness, for the good feeling within your body and the other ones, then you will, which is really like the difference between an alcoholic and someone really enjoying a beer. You see, if you really drink because you enjoy it, then there's pleasure in it. But if you have to drink it because you're addicted, then there's sort of a lack feeling about it, and it will not really serve you. And so here, if you do it for the purpose of pleasure, then the pleasure will expand, and your beliefs about it will at some point you'll want to change them, and then it will be easy for you to do so, because you'll desire to change your beliefs. And that is one of the secrets. When you really get to a place where you see, oh, I really truly desire to do this, and I feel so much that I want to do this, then it's way easier, way easier to change your beliefs about it. When there's still a long way to get there and you don't really want to do it, if you imagine yourself do it, it doesn't feel that good, you're not truly anywhere close, then it might be harder to change your beliefs about it. Just go where you are, enjoy where you are, until that expands to the point where some of your old time beliefs are so inadequate for the level of enjoyment that you are moving toward. And this is not just about sex, this is about anything. Then you will be more ready, more willing to change your beliefs. And which is really saying that as your desire grows, but also as your enjoyment and appreciation of this new idea or feeling grows, then you'll be more willing to way easier change your old beliefs. And if people understood that, they would have such an easy time change so many things. Now, when we go into the idea of sex, there might be some technical things that you'll learn, but they will come rather natural. There's not much that we need to tell you practically as to how to have sex, because you will know it and your partner will know everything that you need to know. Your body will tell you what's enjoyable and what's not, and so will your partner's. So the only thing that you want to is to be aware of your partner and to be open to communication, so that it will be easier to exchange these informations that will help you make it more enjoyable for yourself and your partner, and vice versa, and make it more freely, to not make it something special, to just make it something ordinary in your life that is just very enjoyable. Because then you take your normal ordinary personality into the sex, and doesn't make it into this race of performance, but it's just a place where you're yourself, where you're relaxed, where you are open to enjoyment, and where you just follow your wants in that direction, and that will feel very, very good. And so if it doesn't really fit together, what you want or the other person wants, well, you might just find a way that it could actually work, where one is more sexually aroused and the other is more just relaxing or enjoying light touch. Don't let it be that you have to do it absolutely together, but as you get more in sync with each other, as you do this longer, this relaxed process, this relaxed kind of sexual interaction, you will be more in sync and your desires will meet and match way more. So just relax, just have fun, just touch and do whatever feels good, is pleasant, is enjoyable, and let that expand your sense of sensitivity, your sense of what you like, what the other one like, and make it way, way better. But just let it be natural. Don't let it be, it doesn't tell anything about you where you are on the enjoyment scale, because it's subjective anyway. And if you meet someone that might be disappointed with your performance in some way, you might just realize that they don't take responsibility for their own enjoyment. Obviously, if you don't care about their enjoyment, then you're not really in sync with the whole process, because it is a process where at least two persons, if it is this person, where two persons are involved and where they both want to be involved with an enjoyable process. So if you take the other one out of the equation, you sort of lock a part of yourself out of it, because otherwise you would just be doing it on your own. You would be enjoying sexual interaction with yourself. If you want the other one to be there, there is a reason for it, and to take the other one's experience out of the equation in your mind doesn't serve you. It takes out part of what you could enjoy, and it will obviously create some mismatch in the relationship with that other person. So we strongly suggest that you're most aware of your own and slightly aware of the other one's experience as well, and let them go more and more together. But just be open with the communication, whether it's through expressions of face, whether it's through the rhythm of your breath, or whether you communicate through words. It's all okay. Just let yourself be free in it, and don't let it be something special. Let it be something normal, because it also opens you up to feel the enjoyment of your day, to feel enjoyment as you walk through your day, as you put on your pants, that you can feel this fabric against your skin, that you can enjoy walking around and feel really what you might call aroused, but really it's just enjoying yourself in your body, wherever you are, with whatever you're doing. And so this idea of sexuality as an enjoyable thing, just take the sex part out and just say, what if I'm just me who wants to feel my own body in some way? Because it might be easy if you are willing to just touch yourself, and it might be in time even more enjoyable as you are touched and are touching another as well. But so just build it from wherever you are. If you just like to scratch your head, scratch your hair, that is enjoyable to you, or sort of, then just do that and let that build. So it's just the physical feeling of enjoyment. You do something because it is enjoyable physical in a arena where you're free and where you have less clothes on and where you are open and intimate with each other, so that you might freely express new ideas, new thoughts, and fewer things are out of the question, are taboo, so that you might share your true feelings with one another and follow some of the excitement, some of the joy, some of the enjoyment within the sex. That is the basic of how to create it really pleasurable. Now, if you want to have more sex with other people, you just take your time to realize what you really like. You just find out what is pleasurable to you, not just in looking, but also in energy type. What type of energy do turn you on? What type of energy is pleasurable and enjoyable to you? And what energy do you prefer being while you are in this intimate situation? Now, put these things together and practice being the energy that you want, and look for the energy that you like, and then feel what it feels like, even if the other person, as you meet them, are not interested in you by appearance. Then just imagine the energy of you and her, or her and him, or him and him, or her and her. Imagine it sort of mingling, and imagine the feeling as these two energies merge or play together. And perhaps experiment with it visually within your head as well. Now, doing these things will actually create the kind of sex, the kind of situation that you really want, and not some stereotype version that you don't really want. So you really hold it away because you don't really want it, and you're not really comfortable telling anyone else that this is what you want. And it will not really be very natural because it's not really in harmony with the normal person you are. But as you, this is something that is within the energy that you can be in your everyday, and the person that you really and truly are. And it matches the other person's true energy. She doesn't have to be, or he doesn't have to be, something else in order for the sex to occur. Then it becomes way more natural, and it will become way more easy and good feeling as you create it. Now, just if you are interested in getting another one to be intimate with you, just ask them about it and realize what makes them comfortable enough to be engaged in that. Say, what situations would they be comfortable in engaging in this sex? And so meet them in places where that might happen, so that you can both comfortable interact within this, which also shows that you're willing to be, to some degree, be aware of the other one's feelings and intentions. And with that, you have a pretty complete mental experience that you don't need the other ones to actually be involved with, but you have practical tips when you meet them, when you become acquainted with them, and you're going into this kind of energy. So if you can't enjoy it with others, enjoy it alone. Just be comfortable touching yourself, feeling yourself. And if nothing else, then go to a massage course, not to have sex with people, but in order to sense to the sensitivity to the enjoyment of being touched and touch, and go into situations where it is natural and begin to enjoy it and see what happens, and just discard your old ideas about it and be open to a whole new experience, that it might not be like you thought sex had to be. Just be open that sex might be completely different. Even if you think you have pretty good sex, be open that it could be different, and it could be way better, or just different and more fun or interesting, so that you don't hold yourself, you don't put this ceiling on the enjoyment that you can have and the way that it can express itself, and you'll be more free. We're not saying that you should do it with more partners or with one partner. We're saying that you should follow what you really want, and that if you truly want to have more partners, then find a way to create it without misusing the other one's trust. But if you, most often people will just want to do it with one partner once they have one that they trust and they feel in love with. And so the more you are in love with your partner, the more natural it will be that you'll want to have sex with that person and express your love creatively through sex and other ways. So just take the pressure off that you can only show your love through sex, and make sure that you express it in any way that you want. And then also do it through sex, because then it'll be less intense. So if there's someone that you like or love even and feel some love toward and you want to have sex with them, make sure that you also express your love to them in other ways, and that you actually feel that this is you expressing your love and recognize it, because then it will not be so much pressure on the sex part, because you'll know that you have actually expressed your love, which is the most important part. And then the enjoyment you can do with yourself, and it will come more naturally with the other person when it comes. So have a great time enjoying yourself, enjoying sex in general, and just letting it be in whatever way. And so the more you have one partner, the more you can become playful. The more you'll want to experiment in any ways. And so you can do a game where you are touching each other in some way, just lightly, and you sort of give the other a signal. You try somewhere, somehow you say a word, or you give a signal with your body, or somehow to let the other know what direction you would like to be touched next, which will give this playful feeling of not knowing, of trying to figuring it out, and making it mysterious and adventurous, and makes new ideas actually come up. And sometimes the ideas the other person, what they think that the first person would like them to do, what they actually do in reality will be even more pleasurable, because it comes from them. So be open to this and just playfully play around, and try and send these signals with your body, with your sounds, without perhaps using words, or just saying a word, or even with entity, if you become really acquainted with that, just do it in whatever way works for you. Now, this was us about sex, and it was very pleasurable, and we think that you will enjoy it highly. Have a great and sexual day.